Well, I'm doing something I've never done before. Change the brake pads on a vehicle. We took it to the dealership the other day. Well, not the dealership, but a local mechanic, and he said the brake pads were at 2 millimeters, so we didn't have much longer. So we got these at O'Reilly's, or no, I think they were out at O'Reilly's, so I went to Advance Auto Parts. Anyway, I got them the other day. And I've spent the past hour or so trying to get all the tools together because I'm up at the house. I had to go down to the shed to get, well, these jack stands and then the floor jack over here. I just pulled it up here on a hand truck. And so here's the original wrench that goes with the truck. And for some reason, it does not want to go on there. So I don't know how I was supposed to change the tire if I got a flat tire on the road. I wouldn't have been able to do that with this. So my dad said I should probably go up to O'Reilly's and go ahead and buy. Well, see, this is a 7/8 socket, so I guess it's working, but I don't think it's the right size for these. And my dad said, well, it might be metric, and so I said, oh well, I've already made several trips to the shed this morning. So he said, just if it's not stripping them, then just go ahead and use this 7/8 wrench socket. So that's what I'm doing. I loosened all these. Well, I took one of them out because I was trying to see exactly if it fit in there right, and I didn't want it. See, it looks like it fits in there. Well, that's too dark over here. Let me turn the light on. It looks like it fits in there. Oh, there we go. Now it's focused. It fits in there, but it turns a little bit. So it must be metric, I guess, like my dad was saying. I don't know, because well, we've got metric in here, but they only go up so big. This is what? 19. And that's too small. So I didn't want to go back down to the shed to get another socket. I just wanted to, I need to go ahead and get these tires off so I can change the brake pads. Alright, so I've gotten the truck jacked up to a certain level, and as you can see, I was trying to get this jack right here. I'm not going to put my hand under there just in case it falls, but see, I've got this floor jack up under there, and the other jack, I think I got it all the way up, but I didn't get this one all the way up. So this side might be a little lower than the other side. But I just said, well, the tire's off the ground. That's all I need. I just need to get the tire off now. And somebody, I think it was some smart guy on YouTube or somewhere I watched or heard, he said that you're supposed to loosen the lug nuts before you jack it up, so you're not rocking the car while it's on the jack stands or the floor jack or whatever you're using. So that's what I did. I loosened all these, and well, I took one out. You're not supposed to take them out while the truck or vehicle's still sitting on the ground, but I only took one out. So I went and loosened this side, and before I did anything else, I loosened the lug nuts first, and then I jacked it up. So now both the front tires are off the ground. As you can see, this one's higher, definitely, than the other side. You can tell. And I'm going to take the tires off now, so I can take these lug nuts off, all the way off now that it's off the ground, and take these tires off. So after I took the tire off, this is what it looks like on this Toyota Tacoma 2006. I'm not sure if it probably looks different on every car, so I'm gonna change. There are the brake pads, I think, right there, if I'm not mistaken. And there's one on the other side too, down in there somewhere. So I'm gonna take these off. I think you just take this pin out. See, I'm gonna have to figure this out. there's a pin right here you slide out, and then this pin will slide out, and you do the same on the bottom here, from what I understand. And then this should slide out, these two things here. Okay, I turned the wheels to the left just for the time being, so I can get to this easier. So I stuck a screwdriver in here, tried to pry these open, not open, but pry these apart, I guess, or trying to get these, the brake fluid to go back in there, so these brake pads will loosen up, and they should just slide out. There we go. So that's the right side, and this is the left. So then, unless you're changing the rotor, this is the end of the getting out process, getting the old brake pads out. Now I can put the new ones in. Of course, these, I mean, looks like they've got quite a bit of pad left on them. So anyway, I'm gonna have to look back at this video and make sure I put these brake pads back in there right. Well, I've got the new brake pads here, and for some reason they smell like fish. I don't know. But they're a lot thicker than the other ones, as you can see. See, that's how thick the new ones are. Let me put them up side by side, if I can, with one hand. So as you can see, the one on the left is the older one, and the one on the right is the new one. So that's a lot more pad. Well, as stated earlier, I do not know what I'm doing really, but I'm kind of guessing at it. So I'm trying to push these cylinder things back. I don't know what they're called, but because the new brake pad wouldn't fit in here. So apparently there's brake fluid pushing these back towards the rotor. So I'm trying to make room for this new rotor to go in. It might not be enough room yet. No, I don't think it is. I've got it all the way up on this side, up against the metal. It's not going in. Well, I'll figure it out. Well, as I'm sitting here trying to figure out which one goes on which side, see, I took this out of the left side right here. So, and this, the only difference I can see really is this pin, not a pin, but a piece of metal on here. And that's down on the bottom on this new one. So I'm going to assume that this one goes on the left, since that little piece of metal was down here on the old one. And this one doesn't even have a piece of metal. But, so I'm just going to put this little piece of metal on the bottom, so it'll, like I say, on the bottom, I mean, when I put it in there, it'll be on the bottom like that. So I have got the, whatever these things are, I pushed them back with the screwdriver, I guess to get the brake fluid pushed back up in the, whatever. Like I said, I've never done this before, so I don't know what I'm doing really. I'm just learning as I go. So I got that in there, and I'm gonna get the other one in here, and you probably need a screwdriver. I'm not sure if I can push these back with my hand. I might could, but I don't want to break my finger off. That would be preferable. Yeah, those push back pretty easy with a screwdriver. And I think the rotors, I'm moving the rotor when I'm doing that. Probably shouldn't be doing this. I'm probably scratching up the rotor. I don't know. But I don't know any other way to do it. Alright, I finally managed to get these brake pads back in there. Well, I mean, not back in there, but the new ones replaced in there. where the old ones were. Now I got to get these pins that I took out. Got to get those that go up here and down here. And then there's a little metal wire that goes in here. Alright, that took me a lot longer than it should have, but I don't have a hammer, so I finally got these pins back through the brake pads, but it took me a while. Now I just got to get these little pins back in there, and then the little metal wire that goes in here. There's some new ones here with the brake pads. They look like that. Oh, and they got some new pins in there. I'll just use those. Alright, well, I put this pin in, then I realized this metal piece has to go in first before you put the pin in. So now I got the metal piece in there. Now I'm just going to slide this pin through, and this is going to take a bit of moving around, but I'll finally get it in there, because I didn't move these brake pads. It took me a while to get these brake pads lined up so the pin would actually go through. And make sure this metal piece is behind it. I'm gonna have to put the camera down. And that is how a professional does it. Actually, I'm not professional, but that's how you do it when you don't know what you're doing. I think I did this right. I got the brake pads in there, and I got the pins back, got the metal piece back like it was when I took it off. Well, I mean, that's the new metal piece. And I think that's how it's supposed to look. And the next step was getting the tire back on. I tightened the lug nuts till they were pretty tight, so I could feel the tire wasn't moving. And I'm going to go ahead and do the other side, replace the brake pads on that side. I might make a short video of that, but it's basically the same thing. It's going to go on over here probably. So now hopefully it won't take nearly as long on the other side, because now I know semi what I'm doing. So I'm going to try it. I probably won't get much video since it's pretty much the same thing. But I got to take this tire off and then get the brake pads out and put the new brake pads in and put the tire back on. Well, I'm on the other side now. See, I had taken all the lug nuts off, and the tire was still stuck on there, like straight up and down, and I couldn't get it to move. So what I do, I take some piece of metal or something that's not going to puncture the tire, obviously, and I just hit it real hard, about 2 or 3 times on the back of the tire. And see, that's how I got this. So you can see it's at an angle now. I knocked it off. It was stuck on there. So now it's off the bottom lugs. So now I can lift the tire off without having to strain my back. Well, I'm here on the other side. I think I made a mistake, because see, these, they don't have that little piece of metal that the other side had. And I believe, see, well, as I said earlier in this video, I don't know what I'm doing really, but I do know that little piece of metal scratches the rotor when the brake pads get too low. So you'll know it makes a little high-pitched noise or whatever, and so you'll know when to change your brake pads. So I put both of those brake pads with the little pieces of metal, I put those on the other side. And so these don't have a piece of metal. So now we know what that piece of metal's for, and you're only supposed to put one on each side, not like I'm doing, because I've already put the tire back on the other side. So my dad said, oh, just let it go, just put these back on, because he said the brake pads will probably wear evenly, so if the other side starts squeaking, making noise, then we'll know it's time to change the brakes. But since we get our tires rotated for free up there, because we bought the tires there, they'll probably check the brake pads while they're at it, so just to make sure. So I don't think we're gonna run a risk of running with no brakes. Okay, so just for future reference, These are the old brake pads I took out. So this was on the inside. That little piece of metal, that should be on the inside, on this right side, closer to the engine. So if you're replacing your brake pads, don't do what I did and put both of these metal pieces on one wheel. So then on the other wheel, you just got brake pads. But anyway, I don't think it's going to be a big issue. Well, this one's already come in. I'll have to push that back to get the new ones in. Boy, that went fast. That was like a dream. I put those brake pads in, put the pins back in. Well, put that metal piece after I did it the wrong way on the other side. I put that metal piece in first, put the pin back in. I think it took maybe 5 minutes. I mean, once I knew what I was doing, it was really easy. So if you're trying to do this yourself, it's not hard once you learn what you're doing. And it's not hard to learn because I did it just today and I didn't know anything about changing brake pads. Now the brake pads are in there, the tires are back on and tightened. Now I just gotta hope that I didn't cross thread one or get the tires not lined up right exactly, which I think I did, because I made sure that the tire was fully against the wheel rotor before I let the truck back down. And then once it was back on the ground, I tightened these as much as I could with my leg, using that bar right here that I took them off with. So it should be good and tight, and hopefully not at an angle. But with the brake pads, I should be good. It's just the tires I was a little bit concerned about, because I don't know if I got those tires. I'm about 95% sure I got those tires back on the way they should be, but if they're just a little bit off, they might wear unevenly, and I don't want that to happen. If you watched this entire video, thank you for being patient with me, because as I said, I have never changed brake pads until today. So I was learning as I was doing it, and that probably made this video a little longer than it should have been. So if you go to change your brake pads, this is how you do it. Well, just make sure you put the metal piece on one on each side instead of putting them both on one wheel like I did. Just so you know when your brakes are getting too low and it'll start squealing. Anyway, God bless you. Thank you for watching.